Hello, my name is Patricia Marshall, and I represent People's Development Group, a non-for-profit organization. And you are watching live, and you will be interacting with us today on our program, brought to you on CAN TV 21. During the next 25 minutes, we'll be going over discussing our program topics. We're going to be meeting with you for the next 12 weeks, and we have a wonderful topics that we want to talk about. We want your input. And we invite you to call us and ask any questions at 312-738-1060. Our phone lines are open now. Today I have J. Peter Holzman, planner of neighborhoods, and he's going to answer some questions. We're going to show you an overview of what the 12 weeks are going to be like with us. And you should find it very fun, exciting, and challenging.
Informative.
And informative, of course. Here we have our 12-part series, Community Television in Talk show. This charrette will be reinventing our neighborhoods. And today is just a series of introductions, just talking about what we like to do. And on January 14, we'll be talking about living places, units, local businesses, lots. We'll be talking about common streets, walk, etc. And then on January 21st, we'll be talking about education and learning, etc. Those kind of things, special education rights and parents being more involved in their students' education. And on January 28th, we'll be talking about jobs, employment, business, training, etc. February 4th, we'll be talking about youth and seniors, how they can work together. We've gotten away from youth and seniors interacting. We want to bring that back, mentorships between youth and seniors. February 11th, we'll be talking about community services. And on February 18th, special subjects to be announced. That should be an exciting show. On February 25th, we'll be talking about transportation, parking, cars, etc. And on March 4th, we'll be talking about economic development. And March 11th, environment. And March 18th, open for series of calls. We're going to kind of maybe set that day so you can call in and just kind of talk about all the previous shows. And on the 25th will be our last show, and that will be a series summary and how to contact us and follow up information. So, okay, all right.
Hit the U button.
Now, why is it U?
Just here.
Thank you.
Hit the U button.
All right.
Okay,
Now, here we are. Now, we have Peter. Today, I'd like Peter to just talk about his part and what he would like to do and hoping to make this show a really good and exciting show. And as I mentioned earlier, talking about the streets.
Hello, I'm J. Peter Holzman, retired architect, and I've spent the last 10 years of my retirement studying neighborhood housing design. My grandfather and my father were both housing architects, and I feel the urge to do something for the larger community and for Chicago and for neighborhoods in particular. And so Pat and I have been working for the last 8 years on coordinating our efforts to make a difference in Chicago communities. I would like to hear a little bit more about my friend Pat's company and how she got started. I know how it happened, but I'd like to hear something about how you got into this whole thing, Pat, because I'm sure they would like to hear that
Certainly. Well, in 2003, I was just thinking about my high energy bills. And I started talking to my friends and neighbors about their bills and that kind of thing. And so I went like, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have lower heating costs and lower electric bills and better housing? Because if I'm going to be paying extraordinary amounts of money, then I want to live good for that. And it didn't seem workable.
That was a big step from that to rebuilding neighborhoods.
Oh yeah, an exciting one too.
Yes. Well, I have to say that that Pat has always impressed me from the time I met her, which was more than 5 years ago. She seems to have a boundless amount of energy and desire to make a difference, and that seems to match up with what I've come to in my retirement. So, but I'll get back to explaining, if you wish, where I came from. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, who would have thought we'll be sitting here talking about where I come from to now? But just wanting to have a little better, and then just going through the having those high bills and high
Sure.
costs
Well,
of heating.
Of course, energy is only a very small part of the problem of housing and of neighborhood life.
Yes.
But it is the one that triggered you.
Well, no, what really triggered me was not having it all together, just living in a nice place, but not having what I believe I deserved to have.
Wasn't all right.
It wasn't all right, yes. I got to thinking as I spoke to my father about a better living. It had to be a better way. And as hearing from my friends and neighbors, they thought the same way I thought. We should have more for our money,
I think everyone in the community, at least as I've been interviewing people with you and before and after, I've gotten a definite feeling that people in the community know what they want. They know what they need. They need some help in getting it together and doing it.
Yes,
They got to do it themselves, but there has to be a plan.
Yes.
And that's why I started working on it, and then wonderfully, we came together. So
yes, and just coming up with the ideal, how it all started was cooperative housing and green, energy efficient. Because I was really tired of paying high heating costs, and the electric bill just killed me.
Well, it does, but as I say, it's really a small part of it. The most important thing to my studies over the last 10 years is started out calling it affordable housing. But I've quickly found that the term affordable housing should really include sustainable housing, green, energy efficient, and all of that.
Most definitely.
Then I quickly found that everybody is calling affordable housing whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that the term has no real true meaning that everyone can agree on.
That's right.
So I've tried to quit using the term, even though I guess that's what we're working on. But it's more sustainable housing, or housing that everyone can afford. And then I quickly realized that really what we're talking about is more affordable housing for everybody.
Yes.
Not just for people of limited means, but everyone would rather pay less for a car than more, regardless of what their life is about.
Mm-hmm.
So I really set about very meticulously studying from day one, from start one, how do you take a city of Chicago block and put better housing on it that's better designed, that's more livable, more workable, in all respects. And it took me many years to get to the point where I even felt I had the problem determined.
Right.
And now I think we're on the way, and that's when we met.
Yes. Thanks to Lori.
You want to change the communities, and I may hopefully have the tools to help you do it.
The ideal of putting the green and cooperative housing, that's what we're talking about. We're still going back and forward if it should be cooperative housing, cooperative living, not just cooperative housing, but cooperative buying power of, just reinventing, as we say, communities. The old way isn't working. We see that over and over.
One of the many problems that relate to that I've discovered is that several of the problems in the communities regarding housing are absentee landlordism, which means tenants have lack of control over their life because the landlords aren't there. Also, there's a problem with rental costs versus ownership, and there are all kinds of financing and different issues involved. We'll get to later. You mentioned cooperative housing. My experience with that was that my grandfather developed what some people referred to as cooperative housing back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, but it was really mutual home ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of like cooperative housing, but it allowed people to own their own places for cost. And this is why you developed the People's Development Group, was to try and build housing for people at the cost of it without profits. And that's where I'm coming from. So I think that may explain why we're sitting here together, is because
Yes.
we want to build low-cost, non-profit housing that people can own or rent for less.
Yes. And then we realized that we have to re-educate the community to what sustainable housing is, how to
That
live,
goes
and-
along with
yeah.
goes along with it. Education. As we learn what to do, we need to pass that information on, so people can make their own decisions. Well, what should we get back onto our list, maybe, and talk a little bit more about each of the shows we're going to be having?
Yes, would you like to just kind of give us a quick talk on the streets?
Well, let me talk about one of the things that is one of the many things that I'm very excited about in the studies that I've pretty much completed, and that is that it is possible, in spite of what some may say, to have low-rise housing that is dense but has property that everyone has access to, and still have enough homes per block to where there is a sense of community, but still have open space and still provide with all the necessary things that green, sustainable housing requires. And one of the things that we just recently talked about was the sidewalks. The sidewalks are the place where private property, whether it's owners or renters, comes together with the community, the street. And the street is where everything happens that is, quote, the city. And whether it's good, bad, crime, fun, children going to school, playing, people talking with each other on the street, meeting friends, going to and from, that's where it happens. And that place has to be safe,
Yes.
and it has to be efficient.
Yes.
And in studying how to do more with that, I've found that if I incorporate the street into the design analysis of neighborhoods and blocks, I'm able to maybe suggest some things that might bring the two more in harmony, and at the same time perhaps provide a structure, a framework within which people perhaps can become safer and communicate better with each other, and basically have a more community life going on, bustling life on the streets. We're all familiar with neighborhoods that are vibrant and safe and happy and secure and comfortable, and we're all familiar with neighborhoods that aren't. Some experts have figured out why it's different. It has nothing to do with race, nothing to do with income, nothing to do with a particular location. There are very subtle values that determine that. And that's what we're going to try to nail down and then eventually implement
Absolutely.
in the work that we're going to do.
Yes.
So that's just a little snapshot of some of the things that my organization has been working on.
Well, we realized that we also, in one of our topics on January 28th, we'll be talking about jobs and training.
Yes.
And we would have to really educate the community as to jobs. The term jobs, we like to call it work.
It's true. Creating jobs is bandied about by a lot of politicians who are doing things, trying to get elected and make changes in their communities for the better. But the only people who really create jobs are businesses, and those are people. People can create jobs for themselves. They can learn skills And it's easy to say, harder for some than others, depending on where they're at the moment. But we need to address that along with our neighborhood plans. We can't just design and build buildings and lots and properties and sidewalks. It's about people. So we need to have organization that comes with the development, management, and resources and opportunities in any of the things that we build. And so we're still reaching out for answers, and part of this show's purpose is for us to get feedback from all of you out there as to what you think is wrong with the system, what is wrong with the housing that is being provided today, and what you think needs to be done, what your priorities would be. We have our ideas of what it might be. We do, though, pretty much operate from the assumption that it's not being done right. It needs to be done better. It needs to be non-for-profit, because housing is something that people should be able to have without paying developer profits. Our plan, if we succeed at pulling it off, will be what my grandfather did years and decades ago, which is provide people with housing at cost so that they, in fact, are the ones who make the profit in the future when they sell. They are the owners, and they have their equity. There is no builder. The builder is our nonprofit organization. So this is what we're working toward. But we need community input, and the reason we call this a charrette, which is a term meaning we get together, we get input, throw our ideas out, and we get ideas back. So we'd like to hear from people who are watching, to call in and tell us what they think, what they want, what they think the problems are. Help give us some guidance as to, what we can do to make it right for those of you out there who want your communities to be better, and I can't imagine anybody who doesn't.
Better living places. Yes.
Better living places.
Also, we like to talk about education. Now that's a big problem here in the city of Chicago, but we won't deal with the whole city. We'll just deal with our local community where I live in the 24th Ward. I've been working with the youth at the Douglas Library, and we found many kinds of problems or situations. We are embarking on helping parents help their children by hosting special education rights training and PAC. We want to invite PAC here so that parents learn how to help their children and learn what is PAC and what is a LSC and how is it work and what power parents have. We want to educate you on these kinds of things.
For my information, clarify LSC is for the readers.
Local School Council.
Local School Council.
Yes, PAC.
Okay.
Yes, and also there's a lot of entities and parents are just not involved. So we want to hear from parents. We want to hear from our guests that will be appearing on the future shows, and certainly we want to hear from the audience.
Looks like we have a caller coming in.
Okay, how do we do that again for the caller?
You don't do it.
Okay, Steve, go ahead, Steve.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, I had some ideas for trying to improve my immediate, 8-block radius. I wasn't sure if I should try to work with the ward office, because I know that sometimes they have some funds that you can use to improve things like sidewalks and street lamps and whatnot. Do you have any advice for how to go about trying to improve just the look of your neighborhood?
Well, let me ask you: Are you looking for specific adjustments or improvements to the neighborhood? Or are you looking about a more holistic, all-encompassing way of improving? Okay, the caller's dropped off.
Okay.
A good place to start would be the ward office. They are intended to be a conduit for information about the community and resources around the community. But you might want to just do your own research online and study and pose questions on Google and so forth. You'd be surprised how much you can firm up your old ideas of how you can participate in the community and improving things just by wallowing around on the internet. That's what I do. It's amazing how much you can learn.
And certainly feel free to be a part of our organization.
Certainly.
We can use all the help we can get to sell our ideas. It's fabulous. It's nothing like it. So we certainly would like input from the community.
What Pat is referring to, as she has often said to me, she's very excited about what we put together. It's difficult to describe because we've got something so new that the old words, like affordable, don't really say it all. They
Yes.
apply, but they don't say it all. And so we're going to have to be very careful about getting the word out, not too fast, about what we're doing. And we thought the best way to do it was this: to first find out if we understand the issues correctly, as you the people do, and by vetting it here on shows like this, we will all come together a better understanding of what the problem is, and then we can move forward with what we think are the solutions, or we can modify what we think and change our solutions. The idea is to help improve the city and life in the city for the people who live here.
That's our desire. And
That's our desire.
we also, youth and seniors, that's my pet peeve. I mean, the youth, I love the youth. It just seemed like they don't have fun. When I was growing up, there was youth centers, and we can play hopscotch and hula hoop and run and jump rope. Go to the local youth center and get on the trampoline and just jump all around that thing and just have fun.
And feel safe about
And feel safe, very safe.
walking around the community in your own neighborhood without looking over your shoulder or having your parents worrying about the fact that you maybe just should have stayed closer to home. That's important. We need to try and make streets safer.
Yes.
Everybody talks about that, but I think as an architect and planner, I think that part of the solution to making streets safer is in how it's designed and arranged. The views, the access, the relationship of people in their homes. We need eyes on the street. We need people who can watch what's going on the street. And so I think we have another caller coming in. Okay. Do we have a caller? No. Okay. Well, it looks like our introductory show is about to end. So, do you have any comments wanted to make about any of the other?
Well, I'd like to show this to the audience
put that
once
back on the
again.
screen.
Here we go. We are doing living places, education, job employment. Can you see that?
Yeah, there you go.
No, it has
Okay.
a line. Youth and seniors, community services, special subjects to be announced, and transportation, parking, cars, economic development, environment, and open series. Now, these are all the things that People's Development Group has been working on. But now we're just going to open it up, and then we wanted to just title it so that you will have an opportunity to see what we're doing and give some input. We thank you for calling. We thank you for watching. Have a great evening.
Call when you can and contact us at the number on the screen.